My wallet is sobbing. I can hear it. I can hear it in the hall now. It is breaking down, crying.
It turns out that Attila, the arrogant so-and-so, he's got a fake hammer.
Oh, a fake?
Yeah.
Whoa.
As I say, dick.
Welcome to episode 118 of the Allegiance podcast. And we're back for 4 more, as usual. And last week we looked at All-Star 6. And this week we're going to dive deep into one of those factions, the Necronominus faction. We were going to do both Necronominus and Aetheron, but we decided there is probably a lot of material in both factions that we can go through. So we decided to split it up into 2 different episodes. So unless something completely wild happens within the next week, we'll do Aetheron next week. But otherwise, it'll be shortly afterwards. Just depends, you know. Obviously, we have Infinite Legions Reveal 1 coming on Friday. So the day this is out in the evening. So that'll be 6th of June at 8 p.m. EDT. So that's one date we won't get confused on. 6/6. Yeah, we can figure that one out. That works for us as well.
Yeah. And that's officially the second best day this week after my birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't jump the gun here.
Of course, strictly speaking, it's actually on the 7th of the 6th for us, isn't it? Not the 6th of the 6th.
Yeah,
because it starts at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Time zones, but then we'd be confused. We'd be waiting for July.
And I'm the pedantic one, folks, apparently.
Yeah, the pedantic one, Rich Jones, birthday boy this week. Will have already had his birthday by the time you listen to this. Thursday this week. So, Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Beardless, or a lot less beard.
Yeah, you look very clean.
The heat of the UK, and it's not often I can say that, got the better of me, so the fuzz had to go.
Is it muggy over there? Because it's muggy.
It's been muggy. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It's just
like
horrible.
swamp. It's like swamp ass weather.
Yeah. No,
this is the type of weather when you realize maybe I should lose those few extra kilos.
Oh, it really is.
You know, when I'm going around with my winter jacket on and I'm frozen, I'm like, yeah, you know what? A little bit of padding, that works. But yeah, in swamp ass weather, no thanks.
Yeah. Just lying in bed, just sweating profusely while your spouse is absolutely fine. It's like, I need to lose some weight.
And you, Mal, how's it going?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah.
Just work, usual.
Just work. They're working you to the bone.
No, well, I've just lied, haven't I? Because I was off for the last couple of days. Only went back to work today. But, one day back and it's like, oof, I've already booked a week off in a few months.
Right.
So,
well, hopefully they're not putting too much strain on your vocal cords because we have a couple of bios to get through this evening for Necronominus. So, and always good if Mal reads those. You don't want to be hearing me and Rich try and stumble our way through them.
You both do a great job as well. You've got a good radio voice.
I'd listen to Rich now, to be fair. I think Rich has
got a good radio voice.
So Infinite Legions, anyway, exciting. That's the kind of first thing for this week. So next week we'll obviously talk about the figure or figures. I don't know. It seems to be a figure, but maybe my guess, at least, if it's going to be more than one figure, might be maybe a couple of color variations of that, or
that feels
or maybe
the most likely, doesn't it?
Maybe different weapon setup, or I don't know exactly. I'm not. I purposely didn't go too into the details on the history of this figure because I'd like to listen to the reveal show or watch the reveal show probably now on the Saturday morning rather than live and give myself a kind of a sleep hangover for the whole weekend and kind of learn from it there. I thought that would be interesting. So yeah, it's going to be this Phaidon character from Glyas, so very interesting to see where that goes and see how that fits in with Cosmic Legions for us, at least. Obviously Infinite Legions can be its own thing, so if you want to get in on the ground floor of a toy line from one of your favorite toy companies, great opportunity here. So and interesting to see.
The render they showed at Legions Con was really good, so that got me excited, like the arm cannon and that sort of stuff. So excited to see what they do in terms of that.
the sneaky peek in a photo that they've sort of done alongside, promoting it, looks really cool as well.
Yeah, it does have the little cannon with the kind of blast coming out of it. So
Yeah.
Oh, I've not even seen that.
Yeah.
This is how busy I'm being with work at the moment. This is a disgrace.
That is a disgrace, Rich. That is a disgrace. And so pricing might be interesting as well. See where this lands. Is it going to be like Figure Obscura type pricing, or is it going to be more like Legion's kind of character pricing, or what? I think it'll be probably around the Figure Obscura mark or thereabouts, depending on how they want to pitch it. But yeah, maybe it won't be because I know, maybe it will. I was going to say these characters mightn't have as wide appeal as Figure Obscura. For example, putting up like Jacob Marley, a lot of people outside of our community would know about that, but maybe Goliath's character mightn't be as familiar to a wide group.
I feel like it's going to be at least sort of deluxe presentation, though, with the amount of stuff that's going to come with it. I think that's the very least.
Maybe that's the selling point. And who knows where they collaborate after this? So they could collaborate with a very widely known creator after this. Now, I'm not sure. I think this might be more of an indie thing, but we really have to see where it goes. But
I'm excited to see where it goes.
With a very well known line, then that might be totally different, and then they could go down the Figure Obscura kind of route.
I'm looking forward to seeing Eric's take on the Muppets, because obviously Jeremy is a Muppet obsessed. So I can only presume that's coming down the line.
Yeah, that's something where, our tastes align, so I'd be very happy to... the Goliath thing is cool, but, I will be looking at this more from, is it a cool figure? Does it fit into what I want, or does it have parts that I maybe want to pick up as extras for customs or something like that? So, but maybe if it was a Sesame Street line, I would be looking really at the characters and how they're done. So that is interesting. So yeah, let's not talk too much more about that, because we've already kind of aged the show then, Couple of other news little bits. July arrival of the rest of All-Star 6. So that's on the water, if you haven't heard, on the way to the Four Horsemen, and they should be able to start shipping it out in July, the rest of the orders. Awesome. So if you have, single figures or, whatever you ordered that's not an all-in from the Horsemen, that'll be coming then. Retailers will then get their street date, I think in early August is
It's the 18th of August.
18th of August. That's actually been a date. Okay. Perfect.
Well, I had an email from the UK retailer, so
okay.
I'm not sure if Horseman have announced it, but the UK retailer definitely has.
Okay, well, there you go. Breaking news if you didn't know. Or maybe that's only the European
no,
date, because they did have different ones for...
said the same.
Oh, did they? Okay.
I'm sure they did, yeah.
And then in terms of the schedule, so all the in-stock orders have been shipped out, they said. All the in-stock sale orders are up to date. So if you have an in-stock sale order, it should be on the way.
Two of mine arrived today.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
did you get a chance to
ironically,
open them?
just crack them open. But it's the two where I bought FOMO over the nights in case they sell out soon, and some cosmic what do you call them? Builders,
heavy gun builders. Builders. Yeah,
for
Sentry and Science Officer and stuff.
Yeah, I just bought a few of them. So I had figures to
that's
customize with.
A good idea. Yeah,
cheapest to get them, isn't it? So
I did that during the sale last year. The whatever summer of Cosmerium. Yeah. I picked up a couple of them.
I actually resisted this time because they have about 12 of each of the male builders. So it's like, that might do me for now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always more stuff coming.
Yeah.
Well, so that's cool. And then we have the schedule after that is Thraxon 1. So Cosmic Legion's Thraxon Book 1 for they still say Q3, so probably end of September might be the earliest we see that kind of start to. It's in production now, apparently. So if we look at that for August, September, shipping to the Horsemen, and then Rising Suns after that, they're hoping to get for year end. So that's the Legion's Con wave from 2023. So that's the one with the bear and Atlas and all those barbarians that Rich loves.
That'd be great if just to clarify, I don't love the barbarians. I was going to say something else, but that'd be great to have it in for the end of the year.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I mean, ultimate would be if they had it kind of in time for Legion's Con where they were able to sell. But I think we're dreaming probably at that point. So let's see. Yeah, and then obviously then probably early next year we get the Thraxon Book 2 and Ashes of Egbendor. So Ashes of Egbendor, I think they initially were hoping to get it out within the 12 months. That's obviously been rearranged now. I don't know if they explicitly said that, but implicitly by the timeline that they've shared. So, and other stuff. Sorry, Rich. Yeah, maybe you've got the same info as me now.
No. I was just going to say that they talked. Sorry if I'm taking you off rail here, John.
No,
but they talked originally about the Thraxon waves coming one after the other. And obviously that's changed now as well if Rising Suns is going to be next. So they've obviously just decided to shift it around a bit.
But yeah, I do think that was because of that it would have kind of been similar part set and they could have got it through. But I think now that it's kind of gone on a bit longer, that would probably delay other stuff that they really need to be kind of hitting their mark on. And whereas the Thraxon Book 2 was only this time last year, or even a bit later than this time last year. So it's not even a year yet. And then there's other stuff like I think the Cosmic Heads packs and other stuff. Can you think of anything else that was small like that? But they might be arriving in the meantime.
New Silver Knight.
Yes, the Silver Knight, with the book and stuff. Yeah, so that's stuff that could pop up in between in those. I assume what they'll do is they'll slot those into whatever production run suits at the time, or in between production runs, because it'll probably be quicker,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think we won't be short of stuff to put on the shelves and entertain ourselves with.
Well, talking about the Necronominus wave, I was saying to you guys, wasn't I? I'm going to have to move things about because that Necronominus wave shelf is now looking very similar, or not far off the Arathir shelf with the amount of skellies we've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's getting quite populated with a lot of cool characters, and especially the newer ones have very interesting backstory.
Well, and with some of the sort of the builder figures for the newest waves, it encourages you. They're so good. It encourages you to do multiple builds and fill up your shelf even more. So,
that's true.
Yeah, I don't have enough room for my current stuff, never mind a load of new ones. So that's a future rich problem.
And I know they're not part of the Mythics, but the graveyard skeletons, I'm still waiting for my order of those.
Really?
But I think that they will. I think they were for end of May with my retailer for whatever reason.
Okay.
So maybe I'll be getting the summons to pay soon, and I think I'll put them on my Necronominus shelf. I mean that makes the most sense to me.
That's it. I'll put one on my Necronominus shelf, and the rest are kind of for parts and to use because it's the cheapest skeletons to use for parts.
Yeah,
so,
they're going to be my cosmic skellies. Those.
Yeah, they're a good color for cosmic.
I quite like the sort of not bleached look, but it's that sort of different bone color sort of thing. So you can imagine the cosmic rays have got at it or whatever.
Yeah. It is. They are very cool.
Absolutely. Okay. Shall we get on to Necronominus then?
Let's do it.
This is Thomas Belay at T Belay. You're listening to the EuroLegions podcast.
Cool. So how we're going to do this, I think, is to go through Necronominus and his children first to kind of set the scene for the faction, and then we'll go through the bios of the other characters. Now, some of the characters, like the early Legion builders, didn't have bios, but and there's all the information that we talk about here is available on Source Horseman. So this is where we source it. I mean, it's the bios are on the packages, the figures as well, but they're all there on Source Horseman. And there's a really great article on Source Horseman about Necronominus and his children. So that's worth checking out for more details on this and stuff like that. So I've put them in a slightly different order to the article. I put them in the order of release. That might make sense for us to talk about them that way. And the first one was Malleus. Mal.
Right, let's do this. So, Malleus. As one of the 3 remaining children of Necronominus himself, Malleus is true underworld royalty, serving as the heir of Necronominus until his master's return. He serves as judge, jury, and executioner to any who pose a threat to his father's teachings. A deeply devout follower of his father's words and scripture, Malleus quickly dispatches those who diverge from the path that has been chosen for his congregation. Stumbling over a few words there.
Necronominus is a son of a gun to get your mouth around. The first time I met Travis Bowles, I tried to say Necronominus and just said something completely different. It was like, it's catching. God.
So yeah, he was the first one at the start of the line. Does this team with this middle child thing with some of these? Well, I mean, obviously, but there is a particular theme here with the middle children of Necronominus where they try and kind of outdo themselves to prove how great they are. You know, there's a little bit of inferiority complex because they're the middle child. And he's tagged as being the most blindly devoted of the children. He's a zealot, no tolerance for anyone that would stray from the belief. So, you know, I think you get a clear picture then of the type of character he is.
The executioner element of his bio sort of points to the fact that that's why he's got the 2 giant axes, and you just see him sort of swinging them, or you can in your mind's eye sort of thing, see him swinging them around, culling anyone he doesn't think's doing the right thing, isn't it? It's you can tell he's one of the earlier figures, though, can't you? At this point, he's possibly due an update.
And of course, as somebody on this podcast suggested recently, an update with an executioner's hood on would be amazing.
Yeah, that's true. But that might.
I do like the fact that he kills people that don't stick to the path, though, because the path is basically die and be risen, or don't die. Those are the 2 options. There's not like a middle ground going, well, I might be interested in dying and then being brought back to life, or I might not. That's not really a thing, is it? It's like, I'm running the other way because I don't want to be killed, or, go on then.
Yeah, but I think that hood thing might get them into trouble, like they got into trouble with sensibly. The horse. So
you can do it sensibly.
It's not.
I don't think it's
happen. Not the figure that's the problem. Is it's people.
They could do that. They could do that
hood,
and then have
soft goods hood. No.
Yeah, with a guillotine accessory.
That would be good.
There you go. Maybe a bucket for the heads to fall in. I'm just throwing it out there.
Now we're getting into figura obscura territory.
We are, yeah, basically. Yeah, sorry, I should have known.
So he's the first figure to come with the hinged jaw as well for the skeleton. I think that was, for a long time, that was called the kind of Malleus head, because, that was the first figure that he came with. So, and it's been reused on a number of skeletons. I mean, no harm, skeleton head. I think that's one of the easiest ones that can be reused, His bio does mention the 3 remaining children of Necronominus. So they had already planned a bit of the story, but not fully. What do we have? The 6 here now. So, but that was explained away then with the fact that those are the children that we now have, which we'll get on to. They were also banished with Necronominus after the First Great War, so that's why they weren't on the scene. So it's Malleus and Morgulith and Brother Mandibulus that stuck around.
The question I have with that is, would they be annoyed to stick around because they couldn't go with their dad? Or would they go, ha, we managed to hang around, the rest of you got banished, we're better?
I think it feels like they've tried to scheme and plot and seen it as an opportunity whilst also hiding away. That's how it sort of feels to me. So I think probably smug about it, really, but then not the bravest when it comes down to it.
And when you look at Malleus here, I mean, he's trying hard to pretend, he's doing the real try hard thing to try and impress
that is
dad,
true, That's true.
Definitely, he's black and white, these are the rules, you break the rules, you're getting it. There's no room for negotiation, there's no room for anything, there's no room for wavering off any sort of path. You either are 100% on the same page as him, or you're a goner.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, so perhaps smug, but also I take back the cowardliness. They're putting themselves out there, trying to grow the legions in his absence. Yeah,
I mean, I think definitely him and Brother Mandibulus. But if we talk about Morgulith now, she's a little bit more along those lines, Mal, where she's kind of not quite out there.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's, she took over. So we didn't know this back when her bio is, but she is the leader of the congregation. So you can give us her bio, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Morgulith, High Priestess and leader of the congregation of Necronominus. Morgulith rules with resigned coldness reflected in her faction's deadly efficiency. Less savage than her brothers Malleus and Mandibulus, her ability to see through the eyes of her dead soldiers keeps her perpetually aware of her army's actions. Truly believing that the moment has arrived for her father, Necronominus's return, Morgulith is readying her faction for a new era of evil.
So she's the leader at the moment, and she's doing this priestess thing. So she's kind of trying to, I suppose, keep the kind of religion going, or whatever, this...
the cult, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, this kind of House of the Blessed Bone, they call it. So yeah, she's the one that I wonder with the others coming back, because she gets bumped now when Thrasis comes back. So she gets bumped to number 2. And effectively number 3, because Necronominus is coming back. So,
I mean, it could even be number 4 with Maxilius. Maxilius seems like the sort of guy that, Necronominus is going to go, he's my man. He's number 3 behind Thrasis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Possibly. Maybe, yeah. I mean, he's not related. I was going to say blood relative, but that doesn't work.
Bone relative. He's not a bone relative.
No, his bone marrow doesn't match. But yeah, I think she's an interesting character. There's nowhere where it addresses how she kind of took the return of Thrasis. So
but I'm sure there's going to be at some point.
Yeah, so we don't know really how she feels about it. You got anything more on Morgulith? The figure itself?
Head sculpt is one of my favourite ones in the line.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing
She's a
head
good
sculpt.
one. She's a good one.
I mean, she can't hold that staff for Toffee.
No,
but
it's the old...
It's a thing, sort of thing. But yeah, the figure itself is great.
It's the old problem of the 2.0 hands, though, isn't it? They can be a bit small for some of the weapons.
And I've said before, the line, ruling with resigned coldness. I love that.
Yeah.
She and Malleus actually would be prime for version 2s. I think we addressed that on a recent episode. But she, especially with the High Priestess thing going on, would be, the whole soft goods thing. And
that's it, yeah.
And I'm still, because that sculpt is so good that she comes with, I don't think they need to change it. They just need to put more detail on it. So more, more different. It's just a one flat color. they could definitely pick out a bit more detail. It doesn't have to be like different colors, but different shades of the purple maybe would look amazing.
Yeah.
And there is an article about her on the Source Horseman where they show you kind of some early prototypes of her where the paint sculpt is slightly different, or the paint job is slightly different, where it has the, I think, more of a flat purple and then silver highlights.
It didn't. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So yeah, I think she has a lot of future potential.
Oh yes,
for a re-release and more explanations in the bios or the book or whatever it comes to. Yeah,
she's one of those, isn't she? As a figure, that she's great as she is, but in this age of updating them, can't wait to see what they could do with her now.
Yeah, exactly. Right, the other one that we had in the initial kind of building of the Necronominus wave was Brother Mandibulus. He came in Advent of Decay, and he's another cool one. Give us his bio, Mal.
Brother Mandibulus. Mandibulus is the most vocal and visible of Necronominus's 3 remaining children. Often springing into action on his sister Morgulith's behalf, his aggressive ruthlessness is terrifying to behold. While his brother Malleus is obsessed with the preservation of their father's teachings, and his sister Morgulith is focused on leading their faction, Mandibulus's sights are set on the complete slaughter of all who oppose his family and their disciples.
It's what it says on the tin sort of guy, isn't he, really? I look terrifying. I am terrifying. There we go.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
Yeah, no, Mal, go.
No, I was just going to go, and from a figure perspective, I actually think of the 3, he's probably the one who least needs an update at this point. So.
Oh, yeah.
Still looks great.
I think it was great they put him in the surprise boxes wave, or last year, whatever it was called, the Mysteries of Mythos wave. So he got a lot more out of him out there. So he's definitely, it eased the pain on the secondary market for him, as well as everything else. And I don't think they need to do a version 2 of him at this point. No, definitely not. No, even his soft goods, he's got this great tattered skirt, and okay, it's not wired and whatever, but it doesn't need to be, I don't think, So yeah, he's just a cool, he looks like what he is, he looks like he's the guy that's out there slashing heads, and he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got that look about him that if you saw him on a battlefield, the first instinct in your head, whether you did or not, would be run. Don't, like someone like, I'm going to take him on. This one's like, no, I'm just going to head the other way.
Yeah. And there's an interesting reference to him in the Hagnon bio that we'll get to as well. So maybe we'll get back to that when we get to the Hagnon bio. But it kind of gives you a little bit more insight into Brother Mandibulus. And
or we could just mention that now, John, and not worry about Hagnon because it's rubbish.
No, we give Hagnon his due because he's an interesting. Actually, the most interesting thing about Hagnon is the bio. I think the story is by far the best thing about the figure.
You're both wrong.
I loved Hagnon. I ordered him in my first order, but the blue Hagnon thing just turned me on him. Don't know why. But the Blue Hagnon story is cool.
It's good, yeah. The Blue Hagnon story is great, yeah.
So yeah, he's again with the middle child thing, and he's going above and beyond to impress, Daddy. So yeah, interesting stuff there.
And interestingly, it sort of suggests, doesn't it, in the article that Morgulith was using him a bit, as her weapon. So
yeah,
there's a bit of perhaps manipulation going on there, or he's doing it willingly, which he probably is, isn't he?
But now that she's bumped, so where does that leave him?
Yeah, exactly.
He's been used to taking his orders from her, so
yeah. Although he might just be one of those people who's happy to take orders from whoever tells him do this.
He's just happy killing and maiming. He's not fussed about who's telling him to do it. It's just like, that's
fine. Exactly that.
And a more recent figure we got coming up next. So the eldest child, Tarassus, the first risen. Arch-General of the congregation. What do we got from him, man?
Thrasus the First Risen. As the forces of death are called forth from their banishment, the first to emerge is the eldest child of Necronominus, Thrasus the First Risen. The Arch-General of the congregation, Thrasus assumes command of his father's undead army, relieving his sister Morgulith of the role she has served in since her father was banished in the First Age. During his long years in exile, Thrasus has prepared and prayed. After ages spent in silent supplication, those prayers have been answered. Thrasus has returned to usher forth the Liturgy of Bone, a celebration of death which will be the end of all life in Mythos.
So this seems to be the first reference to that Liturgy of Bone in the bios. But yeah, interesting with him that he's kind of spent his time in exile praying. So kind of just doing, I suppose Morgulith as the high priestess, now he's taken over. He still has that kind of, religious or kind of, whatever cultist kind of praying type of thing going on. But he's also kind of called the Arch-General. So to me, that suggests like commanding an army,
Yes, for sure. Oh yeah, he's definitely.
I love the fact too that he's the first one through. It's not like send a couple of minions in case there's something nasty waiting on the other side. It's like, nope, I'm doing it.
No, I'm doing it. Yeah,
really like that
from the front. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Older brother doing what he's getting. The oldest brother, in fact, isn't he? Taking charge.
I want Jeremy's book to have a bit where Morgulith sees him coming out and going, right. It had
Kiss the cat or something like that and walks off.
He's going, oh, well, I can go on holidays.
Mother.
I can take my annual leave.
Not this old fart.
Yeah. So there is, on this Liturgy of Bone, there is stuff that we need to find out about it. We don't know really what it is other than it's a celebration of death. So, I think it's obvious when you see Necronominus coming along that death is following him.
Well, it does sort of suggest. I think this is cool. This is a cool story element that. Okay, they're clearly going to team up the Dark Four against the Legions of Light, but they also have their own. What's the term? Agenda as well, doesn't it? Which is good because it's sort of backstabbing, double dealing, a bit of Game of Thrones going on.
Yeah. Again, with the book, it'd be interesting if any of that happens in the book, which then helps the Legions of Light win.
Yeah, maybe.
It's looking really bad. Suddenly, Arathir realizes what Necronominus is going to do and turns his legions on them, and it then goes,
Maybe.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Because as we'll see with Necronominus, he seems to be the leader of the Dark Four. Necronominus, he's the one that's kind of the most in charge. So, in terms of the figure himself, Thrasus comes with the cool faction shield and this kind of soft goods banner, so that tells you also a bit about him just from those parts. You understand he's important. So yeah, he's the kind of he's the main man outside of Necronominus, of course.
Can I just put a plea out now though to our listeners? Whatever you do, don't take his soft good tunic and put it on a barbarian. Our good friend Curtis did that. He loved it. No, there's no need for that much cleavage on display, so please don't do that.
It does look a bit cleavagey, all right, yeah. Not in a good way, I'd say, from our perspective at least. Right, and then we've got Beluilith. So Beluilith is not a skeleton, so that's an interesting thing about her. She's a ghoul.
Yeah.
And we find out what?
I was going to say, and ghouls just want to have fun, don't they? I mean,
Marlon, one of the best one ever, dude.
And if there wasn't licensing laws, I could just drop that song in here, but not going to happen. So just imagine it in your own head. Damn copyright. Okay, give us Beluelith's bio.
Right. Beluelith. When Necronominus was recalled to Mythos, he did not return alone. Loyal acolytes of the Lord of Death who had been banished with him after the First Great War returned as well, including the ghoulish child of Necronominus named Beluelith, a beastmaster who commands a skeletal chimera, the Legion of Tuberculi, as well as other unnatural monsters that have not been seen in Mythos since the First Age. She resumes her role as one of the generals in her father's undead army. Just badass.
Yeah.
For me, the best character in Necronominus. Well, besides Tuberculi. The best character.
But she controls the tuberculosis, so...
Yeah, well, that's it.
You know? What we... I think it's worth doing also Berodak's bio now as well, Mal, because we learn something very important about the relationship between Berodak and Beluelith from his bio.
So, Berodak, the towering presence known as Berodak, emerges from banishment along with his twin, the Beastmaster Beluelith. The youngest of Necronominus' children, the twins are always by his side. Berodak serves as a warden to his father, and he is ready to destroy any who would dare to stand against his family or their teachings. Finally reunited, the 6 children of Necronominus once again walk in the realm of Mythos.
So there you go, twins. The big, huge ogre scale Berodak and the ghoulish 2.0, smaller, much smaller Beluelith, but probably scarier.
You know,
we know who nicked all the nutrients while in the womb.
Well, this is where I go. When they talk about children, I don't think they're conceived in the way that most human children are they? It must be some sort of, perhaps the first people he brought back to life when he was first became Necronominus. I don't know how it would work.
That's the boring one, Mal. Like skeletons getting jiggy with it. That's the interesting bit.
Could be a bit of demon wang in there.
Makes you wonder what Mrs. Necronominus looks like, doesn't it?
Yeah, actually, that's maybe something we need explained. Yeah. The birds and the bees, but for the Necronominus faction.
The picture book as well. So this is how it worked.
So interestingly, we don't know for sure if Berodak is a skeleton either under all that armor. So
no,
that's also a fun thing to imagine. I mean, his helmet does have some tusks coming out of it that look pretty bony. So, but that could be just part of the helmet. You know, that could be glued on from some other creature that Beluelith has taken over.
That's a good point.
But Beluelith is, she is the scariest in terms of what she can do with the monsters and all that, and also gives us a cool, possibility that there can be other monsters beyond the tuberculi, which we'll get onto, but they're already cool because they can have different forms as well,
Yeah, I mean, we've already got the Chimera, haven't we, which is a terrifying skeletal beast, so why not some different ones?
Absolutely.
Can I call it now? When we get the book, I keep referring to the book, it's like a promo for the Four Horsemen book. But,
we should be promoting it.
My prediction is that Jack ends Berodak.
Oh, right. You think
they're the same sort of size. So we know Jack survives the war.
Okay.
Because he was in She's Bendor story, wasn't he? So
he was, yeah.
He was, yes.
So I'm going for that he ends Berodak.
Episode 76, if anyone wants that Ashes of Bendor story. I think, or maybe there was other stories. anyway, there's some stories in episode 76.
I couldn't tell you what we did 3 weeks ago in the episode. John's like 76. It's 76.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Look for the lore. You won't find some of the lore ones with the stories you won't find on YouTube. So you'll have to search for them on the podcast players. Right. And they are always by his side, those two. So it's like they have separation anxiety or I don't know what. But that leaves a weird dynamic now between the ones like the Malleus and Brother Mandibulus. They're at the front chopping heads, doing executioner things, smashing people up. And then you've got these two kind of, one is won't let anyone touch Necronominus if he gets near him, and the other one is, just beside him controlling all these kind of undead beasts. So it's an interesting dynamic.
And it hints at other undead beasts besides tuberculite could possibly show up at some point, doesn't it? So
ogre scale. Cool. And that's ogre scale or troll scale even.
Yeah,
is what it is.
All sorts.
Or an in-between scale. Just a we don't need, just a bunker scale. Just bits, like moduloc bone type of thing,
I really hope they don't do a troll scale one because I'd have to get it, but I got no room for another troll. I got bones.
That's bones. It's thin. You can squeeze it in. It'll
so
be thin. It'll be all bones.
If anyone from the studio's listening, do it. Make Rich spend the money.
make Rich explain to his wife how the collection's spreading out from the spare bedroom into the landing, then down the stairs, and
look, it'll inevitably happen anyway.
I've already told my daughter as soon as she heads off to university, boom, that room's gone. It's mine.
Yeah. Well, Rich, I can see a bookshelf behind you, and that clearly doesn't need to have books on it.
I've suggested this. There's an entire wall over there. Free.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But no, apparently that's no. Shouldn't say that too loudly again. Yeah.
It would be a great backdrop to the podcast every week as well.
Exactly.
See what Rich has on the
what I mean?
shelves.
Yeah, exactly. If the two of you could message Kerry and let her know, that'd be great.
Rich said,
yeah.
Rich told me to tell you.
Sure
that's not as effective, is it? Instead of, I had a great idea for our show. It involves one of the rooms in your house. Right, to round out this Children of Necronominus, we should, of course, have Dad himself, Necronominus. So why don't we look at his bio?
Okay, Necronominus, the last of the Dark Four to return to Mythos. Necronominus is the most powerful of these evil gods. Whilst the Dark Four have no leader, they all defer to Necronominus, for all their power leads to death, and that is his domain. A vision of pure horror clad in tattered vestments and wielding the mighty God-Raiser, Necronominus resurrects an army of the undead to follow behind him. They are a mindless force, totally devoted to the Lord of Death and his children, an army that swells as fallen foes are touched by the dark magic of the God-Raiser to become soldiers of the congregation of Necronominus.
So that is the thing about him, is that he can build his army as he's going along, so he's got, obviously, as we'll see when we go through the other characters, he's got various characters, armies, bunches of characters, but he can just build more by, touching them with the God-Raiser. So, yeah.
It just fills you with this sort of sense of, you can imagine being there and this sense of awe and fear. There's just this, army of undead just start appearing out of the ground, literally appearing from the ground, or marching forward, or as it crosses the countryside, just growing and growing.
And it's mentioned in that article that no other army follows their master the way that the congregation follows Necronominus, so loyalty isn't an issue there. So whereas you could see, maybe especially Arathir, you could see with the variety of different characters and character traits within the Legion of Arathir, you could see some of them just up in sticks and forming their own little, splinter factions or whatever like that, which has been hinted at already, I think, within that. So
the goblins and the orcs
and the dwarves, the cavern dwarves and stuff Bromden and his crew. So
I would try to quick check on Source Horseman to see if I could find the article, but they talked somewhere about the Heavensbrand sword giving people life.
Right.
So I can imagine this battle between like somebody gets killed and Gideon's there first going, no, come back on my side. Necronominus is like, damn it.
Right. So, but can it, if they're full bone, can it?
No, they might be in trouble at that point. That might be a bit too far gone.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see. But as we see with some of the other characters, there is, zombies and stuff within the congregation of Necronominus. So it's not all just bone people. So, yeah. So yeah, they're building up to this, when the Dark Four return. So that's when Necronominus comes back, Necronominus Wave and All-Star 6. The situation becomes increasingly dire in Mythos for the Legions of Light. And Necronominus is making his way towards the center of Mythos and the mighty castle of the Four Sides. It is where the Dark Four fell during the First Great War, and it's where they're going to converge once again. But this time they will be not so easily bested. So the bells of the House of the Blessed Bone begin to toll, ringing loudly over the rolling seas of the Deadlands and making their chilling call heard across the realm of Mythos. The Liturgy of Bone has begun. So it's going to be interesting. And we already see a little bit of the aftermath of that with the Ashes of Agbendor wave, but we don't really know the detail of what happened. And that's where the book will fill us in, as we understand. So that book, that's the one coming. That's not the one coming with Silver Knight, is it? That's the Silver Knight one is the
figures release book.
Yeah. So it'll be the lore book will come after that. So that hasn't been solicited yet. So you haven't missed anything in terms of ordering that or pre-ordering that. So
I think I've said I'm a lore addict, and I think I'm actually looking forward to the book more than the figures.
well, this is what you do. You write lore for yourself, and then you build custom factions, which we've been through, and we will be through again on this podcast, where we talk about your cool custom factions. They're really fun, and it's really fun when you get it together to actually put your customs together and take a couple of pics of them, and then we can actually really talk about it.
If anyone's watching on YouTube with a small child, just get them to look away just for a second. There we go. You can look at your back again now.
No, put them on.
We're not totally right though, John. Yes. Well, yeah. I used some. I was off on holiday last week, and I used some of that time to pull out a load of figures, so I can start putting stuff together. I sent you guys a picture of one that I'm that close to finishing the other day. So,
yeah,
inches from finishing.
Yeah, 6 inches from finishing.
Yeah, we had a conversation before we started this recording about inches and feet and meters and kilometers and why it makes more sense. So, that's just a continuation of that.
Yes, sorry, that
for all for all you wondering.
Don't give people behind the scenes info, John.
Well, then I don't have to edit it out. If I explain it.
Then we'll start talking about how you need to put a shirt on, and I complained bitterly, but went and got a shirt. So, it's all going to hell at that point.
Well, I mean, your camera is at a good angle that we wouldn't see your moves, but I still don't think it would be a good look.
I'll do a Curtis, start waving them.
Even Curtis doesn't live stream.
No.
He just,
Oh, he's done everything else. Who knows? If he live streams naked, I want to see him doing it under the duvet he bought from us.
Then he wouldn't be naked. He'd have the duvet around him.
Well, but does that,
just to hide his modesty.
Yeah.
Don't say this because he will do it.
Yeah, you just.
That's why I've said it.
No, come on. There's some poor people out there that are like, why are these guys breaking off from the awesome Necronominus lore to talk about this other stuff that's going on in the community? Right. so then we get to bios from the other characters within Necronominus, and I suggest here that we start with Hagnon and then Blue Hagnon, Mal.
That's what I was going to say. Can we do them that way? Yeah, I'll just do them both straight one after the other.
So the first one's Hagnon. Oh, you can. Sorry.
Sorry. Hagnon. Once a proud soldier in the Order of Aetheron, Hagnon led a legendary campaign that led to one of the Congregation of Necronominus' greatest defeats. Later hunted and captured by the treacherous brother Mandibulus, he was brought to the unforgiving Morgulith for his final reckoning. In a chilling act of revenge, Morgulith ended Hagnon's life and resurrected him as one of her own. Eternally chained and shackled for his crimes, he has become the menacing and forever conflicted ghostly agent of Necronominus. And then Blue Hagnon, which we will see from the story, is a later version of him. Blue Hagnon. Necronominus has returned, and the undead armies of his congregation are called to his side. Hagnon has spent ages trying to free himself from the shackles that Morgulith has placed upon him. Once nothing more than an insubstantial ghost of his former self, Hagnon's power has grown. He now glows with blue spectral energy as he takes up the sword and shield. Will he join the undead in their march against the legions of light, or will his spirit be able to master this new power and once again become the proud soldier who fought with the pious knights of the Order of Aetheron?
So
how cool is that as the whole story
very good
in the
bio.
bio?
You can't argue with that,
Yeah. As I said, the bios make up for the figure, especially in Blue Hagnon's case. So, yeah, can't ask for more than that. I have a couple of comments on the bio. So firstly on Hagnon, they talk about the treacherous brother Mandibulus. I mean, treacherous to who? It's a little bit of a strange...
That is, yeah. Because he can't have been betrayed Hagnon, surely. So it's like, how is he being treacherous?
Yeah. So that just might be explained away by, it was early in the line. We weren't paying as much attention to the lore as maybe we should have.
Possibly,
But that to me is a bit of a strange line. But I'm willing to be corrected on that if someone has a good explanation. So, and then he's kind of chained and shackled for his crimes. But, and okay, this might explain because Necronominus is not back, but couldn't he be just touched by the God Raiser and then, he's off?
Potentially.
So we don't need to have Blue Hagnon. Just give him an L slip of the God Racer. He's done for.
But they're suggesting that he's becoming quite a powerful entity, aren't they? In the Blue Hagnon version, and he could actually break free of the spell of
which is why they need to get the God Raiser on him. To nip that in the bud, nip that crack in the bud here. And it'll take him. He won't be translucent anymore either. He'll just be Skeleton Legion Builder 2. Boom. Problem solved.
You're both just wrong, I tell you.
Or he'll go pink Hagnon just to flog a figure.
No, I'll leave that to the customizers. I mean, Dirk's designs, he does great dye jobs of the various Hagnons. So, although I think it's probably easier to dye the original Hagnon, I would imagine, because trying to dye Blue Hagnon a different color, you've got a lot of stuff going on there where, if you try and dye him pink, you'll probably get purple. The other thing I had from the Blue Hagnon is, if he changes for the good, does that mean that we'd be talking about Blue Hagnon or the next iteration of Hagnon in Aetheron as a ghost angel?
That'd be cool. I was thinking it'd be fun. Yeah. I mean, of all the figures to end up with multiple versions of, it'd be kind of fun to get the pre-captured Hagnon and the post. Like, no, but this would be current.
This would be okay. You could also get the pre, so make him whatever.
I know you're talking about. Yeah.
But
I know you're talking
fourth
about.
iteration is what I'm talking about.
So it'd be fun to have four different Hagnons,
Yeah.
2 of which aren't translucent.
Rich's jaw is just on the floor here.
Can you imagine?
We'll never hear the end of it from Cullen if that happens. Never, ever.
I think it's a bit of the translucency Cullen likes, though, as much as anything. So
but I think he's all bought into the.
You think he's bought into the whole Hagnon
character now? Yeah, he's going to take any version of Hagnon as a win, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you know what? People have to have their champions. I champion Bryophytus despite the fact that, lots of people don't champion them, or maybe they flocking don't like him. Yeah. So
I tell you now, if the horsemen do that, and you better not a horseman, but if they do that, then we may as well get me to stand in the corridor of Legion's Con and Eric Treadaway just take a run up and kick me as hard as he can in the bollocks. Because it's that sort of slap in the face. It's just come on.
I tell you what, I'll pay for that for content for a channel.
What they should do is, with whatever version they do of Hagnon next, if he's more human, give him Action Man style hair, or G.I. Joe as it was to the Americans. So he's got fuzzy flocked hair.
Movable eyes, the little thing in the back of the head, so he can move his eyes as well.
That's going a bit too far now, Rich.
Oh, come on.
Well, he has these big googly eyes, so I mean, you could make them kind of,
and make them googly eyes, so they're going all over the place.
Yeah. One of them is.
How much yours aching?
And this is the moment in the podcast where they lost their minds.
So let's go on to another of Rich's favorite figures, and that's Clavian. Recently received in All-Star 6 and still to be in July for a lot of you.
Another one much maligned by you two, and I think he's actually quite good. Clavian. Unlike other skeleton soldiers raised from the dead, Clavian and his crimson-hued brethren are reborn of magic steeped in blood. The foul sorcery used to regenerate these scarlet demons also grants them augmented strength and the ability to remove and brandish their own bones as weapons, only to regrow them again and again. The magic running through Clavian's bones renders even his slightest touch lethally poisonous.
It's a cool bio. I will definitely give it that.
Although
that's the only good bit about Clavian is he can pull his own leg off and use it as a weapon.
Well, but
that's the only good bit.
Did you see David Williams had posted a picture of how he was going to display it with his arm in his hand, and it just looks so funny. But I totally want to do that as well.
What they could have done is, threw in a couple of extra bone parts with him.
That maybe would have been the way, yeah.
And especially now that they have more bone parts, but I know an All-Stars version is just literally a copy of the original.
Yeah.
But I think that's what would be. So an interesting thing to point out here. So these guys are reborn of magic. But when we get on to Scaphoid,
blood magic,
he's a magic user who's been turned into a skeleton. So that's a kind of a subtle difference there. But
but both have that sort of poison element and toxins.
But there's a difference between, so the red ones they use magic to make them reborn, and then there are these red poisonous guys, whereas Scaphoid, he's the person that was
who is
he was killed. So it's like basically a congregation of Basilia almost person that was killed.
Well, shall we do Scaphoid next, possibly as a
One other thing I had on Calavian, I mean, if that power actually worked in real life for the figure, we just have an infinite supply of skeleton parts. Just because their bones regrow. So,
they'll be red, though.
I need to do more skeleton customs. Pull off Clavian's arm. Oh, another one has just grown. Superb. So make that happen, Horseman, and then I'll tell you what, we'll all be goods in.
You won't be. You'll go bankrupt. But the rest of us are fine.
I think they could sell the technology.
That's it. That's it. You have to buy the technology to do it often.
Right, let's do Scaphoid then.
Yeah, let's do Scaphoid to show off what you were talking about. So, Scaphoid. When truly gifted magic users are killed and reborn by Necronominus' hand, their power seeps into their bones, staining them with spiritual remnants of their past life. Brimming with foul magic, these cursed skeletons have little control over their power, making them unpredictable time bombs of magic energy. often thrown into a fight just to lay waste to all who surround them. Some learn to master their unstable talents. The most accomplished of these mystical masters is Scaphoid, chosen to represent Necronominus at the Covenant of Shadows. Scaphoid has been tasked with unleashing his dark power on all present if the proceedings go awry. Another badass bio.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this bio is that the first half of it is like just introducing the character type.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half of it is this particular one of these type of characters actually has his shit together. And that's why he's chosen to go to the Covenant Shadow, which is a super cool part of the lore, which we've spoken about before, but which we will hopefully further expand upon when the famous book arrives, you know. Are you wanting to add there on Scaphoid, Rich?
No, well, actually, yes. Bear with me a second. Let me lean forward here. That's what I've got to add. 4 scaphoids that arrived in a box from Brett.
What's happening with them? Are they going to get put in your shelf behind you?
No, alas, no. 2 of them are going to be undead Egyptian style characters. And John likes anyone on those heads due to paint.
Okay.
So I want a bit of a glowy.
Do I need to refresh my Scaphoid paint match?
If you could, that would be wonderful.
No, that's fine. Just wondering.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Okay, who we move on to? Let's do Conibus next then, Mal.
Okay, yeah. Conibus, the skeletal steed of Necronominus. Conibus is every bit the vision of horror that his master is. It is said that the clopping of Conibus's hooves awakens the dead, and then the touch of his master's relic weapon, the God Razor, brings them back from the peace of the grave that makes them a soldier in his undead army. Once risen, they form up like supplicants behind the Lord of Death, moving in unison with the clopping of his pale horse.
Clop, clop, clip, clop.
I was trying to imagine that.
So this
Let me
is
get
just
my coconuts. Hang on.
Yeah. This is just an extension of the Necronominus bio in a way, which is perfect because it's his horse. And you see how the horse is useful to Necronominus. So you can hear it now. Maybe I should add this in post-production. You can hear the clop, clop.
You really
clop,
can.
And then
I think that's possibly the scariest bit I've ever heard in any bio, is that the horse clomps and then the thing is like, oh.
Can you imagine, just, I don't know, maybe being a kind of a knight, a noble knight, taking refuge for the night in a kind of a secluded place, and then you hear this noise and you're like, and next thing, hold on, you're undead.
It would be terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Your best friend from night school suddenly bursting through the door, having been raised again.
Right. Let's do Maxilius the Harvester next, man.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
He's
fits in that story, doesn't he?
He fits in there, yeah.
Maxilius the Harvester. Before the Lord of Death appears, there is a Maxilius the Harvester. Necronominus comes forth to raise the dead and grow his army, and the harvester's job is to give his master's fields of freshly reaped bodies to turn to his side. Maxilius is as unstoppable as the passage of time. He's a force of nature that cannot be reasoned with or slowed. He exists only to kill. Entire companies of knights have fallen at his feet as the harvester comes to reap, a scythe in one hand and an hourglass swimming with the souls of his victims in the other. When you hear the rattling of the bones he wears upon his chest, you know the harvester is close.
Yeah. Did you get a little tingle for that one, Rich?
Yeah, that's another one of those ones. You're just like, oh.
That's sell a million figures bio for me. Like that.
Yeah, it's great.
If that could be more out in front of, I don't know. If you could pick up the package and it just, there was a little sound chip in it that read that bio out to you. When you picked up the package at in a shop or at a convention or something, they'd be just like, okay, I'll take 4.
Yeah, well, I've bought a fair few of him because he's such a cool figure and so versatile.
He is such a cool
well.
figure. He exists only to kill, so that's all you need to know. So he does he kills them, and then Necronominus comes along with the God Raiser and raises them up to be the undead army. So
he's basically sort of I mean, they give you the option to display him as the Grim Reaper, but he is basically the evil, twisted Grim Reaper, isn't he? So, yeah, excellent figure, excellent character.
Yeah. He's the, Necronominus is the toast and he's the cheese.
Yeah, I like
that. I got a couple of characters here that we should do because they're all related to Vikenfell.
Okay.
So, Ilgar.
Yeah.
Is the first one here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say before I read it, one of my favourite of the skeletons. Ilgar, one of the most notorious and brutal warriors in the northern kingdom of Vikenfell. Ilgar was not to be stopped even by death itself. Thanks to a deal struck with Necronominus' son Malleus, he was reborn as a shambling skeletal semblance of his former self. Now more bloodthirsty than ever before, Ilgar is one of the congregation's most savage fighters. Yeah, he's a badass. And I love him with the Viking helmet on, the dwarf helmet as it actually is.
Yeah. Yeah, that is cool. I do like the skull as well. I think you'd kind of have him, if in an ideal scenario, you'd have him with the dwarf helmet with the beard, and then maybe another one or two as kind of little minions behind him.
Yeah.
It's a great
and if
setup.
anybody's looking for a head as a minion, then somebody, aka the Jones 1234, has a orc skull painted to match Ilgar.
Okay,
just saying, on eBay people.
Is that one?
I haven't mentioned that for about a year. I had to get it in there.
Yeah. Is that one of the third-party orc skulls, or?
It was actually hand done by Zombie 13 donkeys years ago.
Okay,
cool. He did, and they did them in all sorts of different colours, and I bought a set of them from my action figure customs. So I've sold them the rest, but I got one left, and it's an Ilgar match, people. Come on.
Cool. So let's continue with the Vikenfell team here with Scally Bone Splitter.
Yay, another excellent one. Maybe I just like the Vikings. Scally Bone Splitter. In life, Scally Bone Splitter was one of the most callously ruthless marauders from the northern settlements of Vikenfell. One of those who succumbed to the curse that befell these warriors. Scally's cruelty has only grown in death. This undead dwarven fighter leads a force of skeleton raiders from the colds of Vikenfell towards the centre of Mythos, where he will bring death to all who cross his path. Yes.
I still find that it's a little bit generic a bio for how cool he is.
Possibly.
You could put in one or two more lines just to hook you into his story, but maybe that'll come down the line, or maybe he'd be mentioned in someone else's bio down the line.
I think it leaves out how the curse arrived at Vikenfell and why they're members of the congregation. So it's like, was there an undead priest or something that turned up at Vikenfell, and that's why they're connected to the congregation as opposed to just being undead.
Well, the other one is, of course, we've got several characters from Vikenfell in other waves that seem to be good guys. So why?
Yeah.
But this hints that there's these Vikings who perhaps weren't particularly good guys as well. So why them? What's happened there that they're, how have they ended up, like you say, undead, and what's going on?
They could throw in a line there, that previously an ally of Halmar Golden Tooth, but had a great falling out. That's what I'm saying is missing from the bio. The bio is cool, as in like this is a kick-ass character, but if you're deep in the lore, you're like, what connects him to somewhere else?
Yeah,
and this undead especially is like a lot of them are. I mean, obviously they were alive before, so what were they doing when they're alive, and then how does that connect them to the main story? But super cool, and a super cool figure. Oh my god, I'm enjoying him so much.
Great figure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry, you don't
I wouldn't know yet, but that's fine. The middle of August, I will be joining him immensely. That sounds dodgy, but you know what I mean.
Did you? We can get your impressions then. But did you enjoy our episode with Brett?
I loved it. It was a really good episode. Apart from several slanderous remarks about me.
Super popular on the download
and I would like
front
to,
and the viewers front. I have to say,
really, okay,
yeah.
And I would like to confirm that I have sold that banner set. So F you, John. It's not still sat there.
You didn't sell it at the last 2 Legions cons, though.
I didn't know. I sold it on eBay.
Jones 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fair enough. Sold is sold. Right, continuing the Vikenfell theme, Skeleton Raider. So let's go for him now.
Yeah. Skeleton Raider. Once a thriving settlement in the north of the realm, Vikenfell is now a cursed place haunted by the skeletal remains of the ruthless raiders who once called this place home. The survivors who fled this land into the colds of Bjorngar relayed a tale of a ship that returned from a doom raiding excursion into southern waters. What travelled upon that vessel to be unleashed upon Vikenfell was death itself. Now that Necronominus has returned to Mythos, the Second Great War has begun. The Lord of Death calls upon these revenants to join his undead army as they march towards the final battle with the Legions of Light.
But he calls upon them. Will they actually join him?
Well, they're commanded by Scally Bonesplitter, so, I guess it's down to how persuasive you think he is.
He could have a chat with Thord, and then Thord's like, "No, dude, don't join the House of Noble Bear because we're rubbish, but join one of the other light factions. That'd be great."
You see, I think all the skeletons are pretty much...
Yeah.
They obviously have some personality of their own, but there's obviously some greater control going on, which I think is what Morgulith is essentially doing, hence why she can see through their eyes. I think she's basically acting like the alien queen to all these skeletons and undead creatures, That's what I feel is like is going on, and perhaps Necronominus then he can even outrank her in doing that, probably. So.
And we have one more Vikenfell related figure in.
Who have we got?
The Undead of Vikenfell. That's in the name.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten about
Retailer wave. So sometimes it slips under the radar.
It does. The Undead of Vikenfell. In life, the warriors of Vikenfell were feared and reviled for their insatiable thirst for conquest. In death, they have become something even worse. Along with their fellow skeleton raiders, the undead of Vikenfell heed the call of Necronominus and follow Scallybone Splitter towards the Castle of Four Sides and the start of the Second Great War.
Well, there's your answer, Rich.
Yep.
They heed the call.
They do. Led by Scally.
I still love that tattooed head that comes on.
Yeah, it's so fabulous. Cool. Yeah.
So
having got mine now from you, John, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Then it's an awesome piece.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that? Yeah. That's the first. Is that the first time you've seen all the retail figures from that wave?
It is, yeah. So I've opened the Monkey King and the Vikenfell. It was in the baggie, but I've opened those. I'd seen the Fisher Ice before because I bought one off eBay because I couldn't wait.
Okay.
But yeah, like I opened the box and there was Jacob Marley there. I was like, I did. Okay, right, there we go.
How cool is he in those colours though? That bright blue.
I've not opened him yet, but
right.
He's the one I'm going to display as the Jacob Marley sort of thing. I love those colours.
I remember I asked you if I could unbox a few of them because otherwise the box would have been quite large.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep as many of them in box as possible for the box that I had that worked. So I think I didn't open the Jacob. Yeah, because it was only one.
The Jacob and the Monkey Kings were sealed up, which was lovely.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I've got him the bright blue one sat next to the initial release, and it doesn't half dull down the. I mean, I know it was much duller anyway, but it really does. It almost looks like it's in its own little dark light section next to it. It's ever so funny, but I love them both. I think they're great.
It's a funny story, actually. So I did an orc. I posted it on my Instagram page, I did an orc space helmet from Borderland Horde to match the ATL 25, the green.
It looks really
and I matched
cool
all the green up and whatever. And then I just at the very end, I did a couple of little weathering with metallics. A little bit of silver weathering so that you could see that when it's a silver helmet underneath when the paint wears off. And that made the green look darker.
Oh no!
It's not off. It's still pretty much close. But before that was spot on. And as soon as I put the silver on, it just funny, your eye tells you it's slightly lighter. So I could do the silver on the ATL armor, but I'm probably just going to sell the head on its own. So yeah. Funny.
They're just weird, isn't it? What the light and the eye and
what your eye does
can do. Yeah.
Bananas. I think I want to go to the tuberculi next, Mal.
The tuberculi.
Tuberculi, sorry.
It's all right. The Dark Four were defeated by the great beasts and banished from the realm of Mythos. Powerful magic was used to imprison the Lord of Death, and those same spells sent many of the monstrosities that fought in his army away as well. Known as the tuberculi, these long-forgotten terrors of the First Age come in a variety of forms, and all are horrible. The heroic warriors fighting for Mythos today have never seen an enemy like the tuberculus, and as the barrier between that realm and the prison where Necronominus and his acolytes have waited begins to weaken, these rotting denizens of death stir and prepare to fight once again. I was doing so well.
You were doing so well. Yeah.
And it's just a normal word, a simple word.
You know what my biggest comment on this?
What's that?
The last bit of it is these rotting denizens. Where's the meat?
Yeah. It sort of suggests
a millimetre of meat on that bone.
And especially when we got Conibus now, that is,
his muscles
rotting.
And sinew. I suppose you could argue that tuberculi has that if you took that little circular waste piece off, isn't it?
Tiny
a bit
bit on the
meaty
stomach.
under there. Yeah. It's a bit gristly, a bit meaty under there.
That's what I've been trying to convince her of it for a long time. So
it shows where my
mentioned-
mind is with this. Like, Mal was talking about the tuberculi and he hadn't seen it before. And I've immediately got two knights sat in the battlefield at the back, just before the battle starts, looking across at Necronominus' his army. And they're like, that's a skeleton gorilla. That's a skeleton wolf. That's cool. And they're like, what is that? I've never seen that. And they make a little mark in a book going, I've not seen that one before. Right, I have to get close to that.
Yeah, but you see, that's because your brain is telling you now you're not involved. You don't need to worry about that coming to eat you.
This is true.
Whereas if you were a knight in that situation, you'd be like, oh, this is how I'm going to go.
You'd have the battle lines drawn up across there, and you'd be like, no. Oh, there's a little goblin. Yeah, I'll take the goblin. That's fine.
See the little goblin, see his little feet, see his little nosy woes. Isn't the goblin sweet?
I wonder where you're going there for a second. Like, see his little what? Okay.
Nosy woes.
That's from Blackadder.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, I don't remember that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Season 2. The one where they were all hammered drunk, obviously.
I do think it's just going back to tuberculi. I do think it's funny, and I was doing it earlier as well, how it always gets called tuberculi, and it is tuberculi.
Well, I think
Mal,
with my Irish
we can
accent,
say
I
what-
can go for tuberculi.
Exactly, and we can do whatever the hell we like, Mal. We invented the language.
I like,
The Americans
right.
can do what they want. We can do what we like.
Yeah. Enough with your month, date, year,
No.
And
We need
your
to be
aluminum.
drinking as we do this.
As
I mean,
opposed to
technically that's
as
correct the
opposed
way
to
it's spelled, but that's
lieutenant.
neither here nor there. Yeah, lieutenant. Whatever.
Lieutenant sounds like, someone that looks after the toilets in a nightclub.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is why it's a bad idea me drinking wine before we do one of these.
Always. Right, let's go to Gold Skeleton so that I can get rid
Should
of
we
this page of notes.
Do 1 and then 2?
1 doesn't have a bio, so go straight to 2.
Oh, no, he doesn't yet. Yeah.
The original Legion builder.
Because he's an army builder, folks. That's why he doesn't have one. Gold Skeleton 2. Casualties of the First Great War, these defeated angelic warriors of Cyrus were cut down by Maxilius the Harvester and then resurrected by the magic of Necronominus. These undead angels became some of Necronominus' most powerful followers, and they were banished with him when the Dark Four were defeated by the great beasts. Immediately distinguishable by their golden bones, these fallen angels still possess their feathered wings as a cruel mockery of the celestial beings they once were.
So that's cool that they've linked being a gold skeleton to a logical reason.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
They're skeleton angels as opposed to ghost angels, which maybe Hagnon has the potential to be, like we talked. No. You have to be off mute to. Oh no, sorry, Rich. You're just not talking.
I'm not on mute. I'm just. People have heard enough of me here going no Hagnons. I'm just giving the signs. It's the hand signals now.
The wagging finger, not the finger.
Yeah. The disappointed look on my face. That sort of stuff we've eaten now.
That Gold Skeleton 2 is one of my most anticipated figures.
Mine.
It's so cool.
It's so bonkers.
I am
so
literally also a little bit of a, magpie when it comes to gold. Not like gold jewelry or whatever, but gold stuff to do with figures and stuff. So I was always regretting missing the Gold Skeleton original, but never willing to pay like crazy prices for it, and kind of knew that if it didn't pop up in the reinforcements waves, it was never going to come, and I don't think it was popular enough to ever probably pop up in one of those. So they did a absolutely rock and roll version of it now.
Yeah,
to make up for that.
I love it. I hope I can get another one at some point. I've only got one on order, but I hope I can get at least one.
I need another 3 because I've got 3 heads put to one side to be painted to go with it. So I have a little gaggle of undead angels. So.
Yeah,
it's just such a, as I say, just bonkers.
It is.
You showed someone that figure, they'd be like, well, "What? Oh yeah, it's brilliant."
But it's so heavily done. It's just like it's a weird gold skeleton.
Then you've got the the figures in that wave. Is it the Yosef of the? He's an angel.
Yeah.
And then you got the gold skeleton that's almost his kind of opposite.
Yes.
He's yin to yang or whatever.
Can we say Yosef for the figure too? Everyone keeps saying Eosef, which is how I think the horsemen pronounce it. It's Yosef.
Okay, it's Yosef.
Sorry, I'll get that off my Okay, I'm relaxed now. There we go.
Yes, boss.
We're pedanting tonight. We're pedanting tonight.
We are pedanting the hell out of it tonight, yeah.
Right, Tibius, baseball head.
Right, give me a second. Find. There he is.
Someone's got a new picture of that, of somebody just pitching Tibius's head across.
Just flying across the air. Right. Tibius, one of the most ancient living skeletons roaming the earth. Tibius commands many of the deadlier battalions of Necronominus' army. Single-minded to a fault, he is consumed with recruiting soldiers and bolstering his ranks. A master fighter in his own right, Tibius is renowned for the savage skill he displays whilst wielding his twin swords in the battlefield.
Generic.
Very generic.
He's a bit.
I mean, but for the stripes, he's a fairly generic skeleton too, isn't he? Let's be honest. So.
Yeah, and I understand where he comes from in the line. I think he was a late reveal on the Kickstarter. Kind of they busted another stretch goal and they had to make another figure. And I think even he didn't have the baseball head initially. And that was kind of only an addition to kind of make him stand out from the Legion builder almost. So, yeah. I mean, he's a cool figure though. If you have him, he's fine, he's a nice one for the shelf. You just need one probably. It's enough. He has that quite unique skirt piece that's a little bit, kind of, how would you say, particular type of lady on New Year's Eve out in a nightclub in the north of England. Length.
He's flashing
short.
his crotch. Is this what you're trying to say, John?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I didn't want to be so explicit, but yes.
We love you, the ladies in Newcastle, just so we're clear on that.
I didn't say them on Newcastle. I said north of England. But that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Frantically checks the statistics to see if we have any listeners in Newcastle. And if we do, it's most likely to be male, and so
exactly, that'll be like,
they'll know what you mean. Yeah.
Right, we have a couple more to get through. 2 more that are actual lore, and then we have Okiatos as well, which I think we should still talk about.
Yeah, I like Okiatos.
So let's do Skeleton Legion Builder 2, and then the Undead Builders.
Okay, yeah, right. Skeleton Legion Builder 2. There is no legion in mythos more terrifying than the skeletons of Necronominus, warriors summoned from the grave to blindly fight under the banner of the Lord of Death, oftentimes against their former friends and factions. They are a perversion of all that is good in the realm. These undead soldiers cannot be killed, for they are already dead. Only the complete destruction of the skeletal body will stop their advance. And trying to reason with these terrors is futile. Death is all they know. Death is what they are. Pretty cool bio for a Legion builder.
Yeah, and this is where it brings us back to a bit of our chat last week as to why the Templars have hammers now. As opposed to, because they need to smash them up.
Yeah.
So...
bludgeoning weapons rather than piercing weapons. As,
well, unless it's
all
a spear. We've established that obviously a spear holds them down.
Yeah, but it doesn't kill them, it just kind of sticks them in the go. But then you're lost your spear.
Floor, so you can smash their head with the hammer. That's
there you go, Mal. You got it.
Kick him in the head with your boot. It's like, yeah, there we go. Dealt with that.
That was the next bit. Trevor was just doing that's the first bit. And then if it had carried on, we'd have seen the next thing.
Let's not dig at Trevor because I don't think he ever deserves a dig. So
he doesn't, and we absolutely love Trevor and his work's amazing.
Yeah.
But I am expecting for him to walk up and punch me at Legion's Con because I've dropped little digs in left, right, and centre jokingly. But there's been a lot of them.
I'm still.
If he ever turns around and says we can't use these pictures for the thumbnail here and there, then you are doing the thumbnails. You are doing the thumbnails in future. It's going to be your word drawings for future thumbnails.
All Trevor's work is amazing. Everybody loved Trevor.
Undead Builders, Mal.
Yes, Undead Builder. Undead Builder Pack. The undead ranks of congregation of Necronominus are made of more than just skeletons. The zombified remains of the fleshy dead, the flesh still clinging to their bones, claw their way from the grave to march behind the Lord of Death. The restless spirits of the long deceased also fly forward, their ghostly bodies given the power to animate suits of cast-off armour and wield weapons in their spectral hands. There is no peace in death for these souls, no rest beyond the grave, for they have returned to mythos as part of the undead army of Necronominus.
That's cool, huh?
Yeah. Great figure as well, great build.
Amazing figure. I ordered another one on AliExpress earlier today. That's my second one on the way.
Oh, what are they doing them for on AliExpress?
It was $80, and then they have an offer on today, finishes today, where it's $10 off if you spend more than $79.
$70. Okay.
Yeah, so 70, which is a pretty decent price.
Yeah. Great to have zombies and kind of ghostly like figures that still have a bit of armor on them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Painted armor.
And for 2.0 figures, they are superb, I would say.
Well, and combined with some of those heads from the head pack, adds even more options.
Yeah.
And lack of heads, because that's what I'm going to do with it.
They are 2.0 or they're 1.0?
No, they're 1.0.
Sorry, they're 1. That's why they're good. Yeah. Sorry.
You had me worried for a second because I sent off a torso and a head to be painted to match them earlier today or yesterday. And it's like, oh God, I've messed this up if they're 2.0, but that's fine.
No,
they're 1.0.
They're just
sort of skinny.
Thinner. Yeah. No, you're right.
Like
they are 1.0. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oopsie. And a 2.0 to close us out. Okie dokios. Okietos.
Okietos. So, yeah, Okietos. Devious and deadly, the enigmatic Arakageist, killer known as Okietos, is a frightful tangle of bony limbs and shadowy menace, a terrifying mixture of flesh and bone. The Arakageist are a race not often encountered in the realm of mythos. Keeping mostly to unlit corners and hidden recesses, the assassin Okietos takes great joy in hunting down and eliminating his prey. A devout worshipper of his faction's dark god, Okietos hopes that his dark deeds will be rewarded upon Necronominus' return.
See, with the hiding in dark recesses, in mythos, I want him to be that big.
Yeah.
So he's got like poison blaze. If he stabs you, you're dead anyway. But it's like literally he's tiny. He's like a little recess. It's like, yeah.
You want him
And
to
I'm
be a
spider.
companion character.
Yeah, basically a little, you'd have 3 of them stood on the shoulders
Yeah.
of somebody else.
Like Spider-Man's kind of flying spider drone
Right,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a nice nod here to the fact that he hopes that he'll be rewarded on Necronominus' return, so he hopes that he'll become part of the official canon, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I hadn't thought about it like
Because
that.
this is a Motu tribute. It's the only one within the congregation of Necronominus. So they're technically not really main part of the story. They're kind of more side characters. But I think the type of character that's introduced, we could definitely take as canon. So there could be other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is Arakagast, which is a kind of a spider. I mean, you understand Araka is like from arachnid or whatever. So
Yeah. And they don't all need to be that blue colour either. They can explain that away as well if that's too bright for people.
I mean, I really like him. I know he seems to be a bit sort of not, a lot of people not keen on him, and I can understand why. Bright blue.
He's Marmite, it's fair to say, Mark.
Yeah, but I don't know. I like what they've done as the tribute and the character and how they've introduced him into mythos, and I think I quite like Webster in Master of the Universe anyway, so I think that part possibly translates across that my little bit of I like that character,
So that's the faction of Necronominus. We'll get on to their opposites in the Order of Aetheron next time, hopefully. Barring, too much to talk about on the news front, and then we'll put it forward to a future episode. But yeah, you can definitely find that down the road. Favorite character out of these? Anyone? Hadn't prepared this, but
it's a tough one because some of the new stuff is so good. I actually think it's the close second Scallybone splitter, but I keep looking and sitting and just looking at the what's he called? The other one, the skeleton with the Viking,
Raider.
The
Raider.
Yeah,
the skeleton Raider. I just keep finding myself picking him up and playing with him.
It's a perfect Harryhausen skeleton. That's what drew me to that originally. Just like, that's exactly what you had at Jason and the Argonauts and that sort of stuff. It's that sort of look.
Yeah.
Depiculi as well has probably got to be in there as one of my favourites. It's just such a bonkers.
It is, isn't it?
Again, it's another one you pick up, play with, tear it apart, do things with it. I mean, I've built the monkey. I know it's not fully Depiculi. It uses. I've gone blank on the names, having just read them all. Maxilius. I've used Brett's recipe to make an ape, and I mean, it looks so cool. It's so fun. Yeah.
I think in terms of character, Belulit, just the whole story with her is so cool.
She's so, and that bio's so badass. She's so,
and then what you get with her with the the dog. Sorry, Rich. The Chimera.
Because the extras, I think Belulith for me
and
does it. Although I do love Morglith.
Yeah.
Obviously, my hatred of 2.0s, Morglith I love. So.
And then Tuberculi, I think, can't go wrong. And Necronominus himself is...
he's very good. He's
baddie, yeah.
And we also shouldn't forget all the knights in the Necronominus wave came with skeletal faces. So you can turn Sir Adalric into a skeleton. And, Sir Elijah and all that sort of stuff. So there's plenty of options.
You go around to Brett Stoddart's place and he's got just a whole shelf of skeleton knights. So, yeah.
Well done, Brett.
Hello, everyone. This is Anton of the Forge, and you're listening to the Your Legions podcast in the Year of the Dwarf.
Right, and to round us off tonight, Rich, you've got some boxing.
I do.
Unboxing to do. So
let me share my screen with you guys. Delivery from Luxembourg. I don't know who that could have been from.
No.
But it's been one of those. It's been one of those weeks. It's my birthday, if we haven't mentioned already, this week, and it's been awesome because I got to pick up on Monday a box from John, who'd been storing some stuff for me. God bless him. So we had the retailer exclusives, the last lot, then some painted stuff from Mark Calvo, which I'll show in a minute, and then some other stuff. So yeah, it's been a good week. And then Brett sent me a box which arrived today as well. So delivery from Luxembourg. So Mark Calvo painted heads. So we have this awesome blue dragon head from Jason Rodriguez. Top left there. Then we have one of Mark's own sculpts. I'm going to use it on not an Arakigo. I forgot his name. Thank you. On a Kragnar body for an ogre scale snake man. My snake man legions are growing. Then we have the awesome green dragon, the bottom left there. I love that green. I need lots of dragons, so that's a great one. And I'm breaking my no humans in Cosmerium rule, thanks to ATL 25. But here's my first human. There's going to be a colonial marine, and again, this is a Mark sculpt.
I've got all three of his colonial marine type sculpts.
They're awesome, aren't they?
They're all so good, and is an exceptional painter, isn't he? So
and it's fabulous. He calls it, I think, something pone or something like that. So it's basically a from Aliens sort of thing. I love
Lieutenant Pone or something.
Yeah, something like that. So this amazing stuff. I also got the two-headed Ninian infantry and the longer-necked Ninian infantry from Mark as well. I've not got pictures of those though. And then the other heads I got from him is the rhino. So the top rhino on the top there. The left-hand side is red. Obviously, the right-hand side is black, but it's the same head. So he's going to be a rhino in my Red Hellions. And it's got the split colouring on the hood. There, I think that's a Mowaway sculpt. Fabulous sculpt. It's like the executioner sort of sculpt with the eyes covered and this sort of stuff. And then I have a pit bull down on the bottom left. I discussed recently my Canine Legions. I can't remember what it's called, Canine Legion, something like that. So there's one of those. And then I have a pig on the right-hand side. John, you've got your cosmic pigs, and I'm going to have a mythic pig faction starting off in the new year. So
we can fight them, no?
We can, absolutely we can, yeah.
I love this sculpt, though, because you could use it as a not Gamorrean guard and make it a bit cosmic as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Kind of what it is.
And I've seen a lot of people paint it green for that very reason.
Yeah.
And then Mark did it this colour. And I remember at the time thinking, wow. And then he put it for sale like a year later, probably, if not more. And I was like, yeah, I want that. That's amazing.
So just a reminder for people, episode 82, if you want to find out more of the Red Hellions. There you go.
There we go. That's when I actually put up a faction and talked through the bios.
Yeah.
More to come soon, people. More to come soon. My plan is that my Lithia customs will be next up.
Ooh,
starting next week.
Favorite faction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right then. And then the other thing, John, in your box was some wonderful customs. Some wonderful customs from Ralf. Ralf Maus obviously is a great friend of the show, tragically passed away. But I was able to pick up some of his customs, and I'm so grateful to Claudia for his wife for putting these up for sale. So I picked up some dwarves. So the one on the left, it's got the. I was planning on changing the head, but now I have it in hand. I love the head. It's one of these ones where I think it's a Mythic Bits beard, where it just attaches straight up to the the helmet, so you've just got eyes and a beard, and there's no sign of a mouth. But I love what he's done with the colours of the armour and everything. I don't know if you can see it there. It's like a browny gold with that big blonde beard and the 2 axes. And I think I'm going to keep him as he is, because it's such a great figure. And obviously Ralph's passion was dwarfs, so it's lovely to have some dwarfs from him. The one on the right there is using, I think, some Gorgo parts, and then maybe some parts painted to fit in that in terms of dwarf size. I'll probably change the head on this one. The head is amazing, but I have another head that I need to get painted, that I think, an unhelmeted head, which I think will work really well with this. And then the final dwarf I have on the left here is like a king dwarf. And again, I was planning on changing the head, but actually now I have it in hand. It's an amazing king dwarf head. It's got the crown, it's got the really fancy beard. The paint job on the armor to give it that sort of greeny gold look is just gorgeous. So I think I'm going to leave that as it is.
That's cool. That is cool, yeah. Super cool.
Yeah, and then on the right we have some next we have some cosmic snakes, which I'm going to probably almost certainly convert into mythic snake men. And I'll use the cosmic parts for something else, sort of thing. But yeah. So first up we have this orangey red sort of guy with the Mark Calvo head sculpt and repainted Oleg Thygar torso and arms. I do love it, but I've got another. I'm touch and go that I can keep the head or not. I might use the head for something different. And I've got another head, which, if the color works with it, I can use that instead for this one. Then we have 2 more. So we have a green snake man.
Oh, that's cool.
Love the color of this guy. He's so good.
Yeah.
And the cosmic parts are amazing, and Ralph did an amazing job painting them, but I might transfer them onto another character.
Yeah, you're more a mythic person, aren't you? So.
I am, yeah. And then on the right, we have another snake man. This is using the coiled Planetary Dog Toys base. Yes. So it's like a proper snake tail. And again, the blacks and reds, that's such a cool color scheme. So that's an awesome one as well. And then Mal, there's more cosmic to come. So here we go, dude. So
yeah,
we have some cosmic adventurers, pirates, whatever you want to call them. So on the left-hand side, it's a Mark Calvo head. I'm not sure if Mark painted this or whether Ralph painted it, but it's painted. I'm not sure if you can see exactly in the picture, but like a stone sort of effect.
Yeah.
With glowing red eyes and spikes coming out of the head. And it's got an awesome soft goods cape, which I'm not sure whether that's from, which figure that's from, but that works brilliantly on it.
Soft goods, because I thought that was the Gunslinger Spawn coat.
No, it's definitely. I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but it's definitely maneuverable, and you can move it around, sort of thing. And then what appears to be a painted up Novian body, with a couple of guns. But it's such a cool. Again, I was planning on doing different stuff with it because I've got one of these heads painted by Mark for Mythic, so the head might change, but the rest of the build will absolutely stay the same for a Space Pirate one. And then on the left, you have a pink, green head cosmic dwarf lady. And that head is going. I'm afraid I'm going to replace that with a pink goblin head, which, John, did you paint the pink goblin head for me? Yeah.
Oh,
so that's going to go on there. So that's going to go with that body. As soon as with the body, it was like, I've got a head.
If you don't want that head, I might take that off your hands. If that's
You're welcome to it, dude. More than welcome. It's a freebie from me. People have heard me say that. There you go.
Cool, thank you. Because so
it's going to be a pink cosmic goblin that rides a mech into battle.
Cool.
So that would be excellent. Then we have
I remember
an android.
Yeah, you like this one from the first.
Yeah, I absolutely love this. It's so good, and I'm so happy that Claudia decided to sell this one. It's a robot wearing like a Western hat, but with 2 awesome guns as well. Like, I don't know who makes the guns, but proper big, wide, like laser pistol sort of thing. So,
they're Planetary Dog.
They're Planetary Dog toys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But such a great color scheme. It's just awesome. I mean, in theory, the hat looks weird, but it just works really well with this piece.
Yeah,
it works. Really, really well with this piece. And then last but not least, and this one I'm not afraid to say I teared up a little bit opening this one earlier. To the point my wife was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "This Ralf did this as a homage to me, and it's Captain. I think it was Captain Jones 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that."
Man.
And Claudia very, very kindly gifted this one to me, so I didn't buy it.
Wow.
She just popped it in the thing, and it's
That looks so cool, isn't it?
yeah, it's cosmic armor. I can't remember from who, but just painted up green.
That's Mark Calvo who sells that. I think he designed it. That chest piece that plugs in. And
Yeah,
brilliant.
I think you did, yeah.
Thank you, Mel. With the prop master head, the prop masters did of me. So it's got the mutton chops and the Welsh flag eye patch and that sort of stuff. And I love this figure. When Ralph first did it, I was messaging him going, "Dude, that's just incredible." And Claudia, bless her, as I said, included it at no cost for me. So this will have pride of place in my cosmic display. It's an amazing piece.
Cool figure.
That will never be on the Jones 1, 2, 3, 4.
Never ever. That will go with me to my grave. That one.
I love the colours as well. That's it's almost
they're great, aren't they? They're really good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it could be like ATL's bigger brother sort of thing. It's that sort of vibe to it.
Very cool.
Do you know what's mad with the timing of this? It's pretty much this week last year.
Oh wow! Okay.
For Ralph. Yeah.
Oh really?
Week. Yeah.
Oh wow!
First week of June. Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also had a box from Brett in. So this was my in-stock sale stuff that Brett kindly held on to. And then my second in-stock purchase, and then a big bad toy store purchase, and various bits and bobs. So we're going to do a live reveal about. So I did the Armoury Night experience, the loose one. So I have no idea what colours I got. So I'm hoping for a red. I don't mind evil or good. I don't mind purple. Again, don't mind evil or good. And one of the gunmetal Knight.
Okay, so
not
green.
One of the soft goods, but actually the green. If I get a green, it's fine. But those are the three I'm going for. So let's see.
Right, I'm interested to see how these come. Do they come loose or in a package?
They come loose. So Brett's chucked them in a massive bag.
Right.
So let's see what we have. So God,
this
this
was
my
the blind
eyesight
box, wasn't
fails
it?
me completely.
Old man problems.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, it really does. That's
okay.
That's a red one. We've
Put
got
it
red
up to
evil.
the camera there. Yeah.
We've got a red evil. Everybody.
Oh yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, red evil.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That will work with my wolves of my canine faction. Then we jeez. I really am too old for this.
Open the plastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to open the plastic. Bear with me, everybody.
Yeah.
This is terrible podcasting, but my eyes are old.
It's fine. It's what the kids like.
Oh, it's a
Unboxings.
gunmetal one, I think. Or it might be purple. Bear with me. Let me get a torch on it. It's gunmetal. Happy
Yay.
days. Happy days. There we go. So that's two of the three I wanted. Right. Let me read through this. And then the other set we have is
Ooh.
Is this another gunmetal one? It is.
Oh, nice.
So a second gunmetal. So the question is it gunmetal with a leather torso or not? Nope, that's armored torso. Two armored. So I got two gunmetal and one red knight.
Oh, nice.
So two of the same fig, or
Yeah, two of the same figure. Unless my eyes are deceiving
But
me.
are you sure it's like the legs and that aren't
That
different?
might be purple. Bear with me, everybody. My wife's walked in the room. What colour's that, Kerry? Is that purple or black? Yeah, two gunmetal knights. My eyes haven't deceived me. So there we go.
Right.
So two of the same gunmetal knights, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And an evil red one.
Very cool.
happy days.
So yeah, go live unboxing.
Result.
Everybody. I didn't know that. Brett didn't tell me. And this is a reward for anyone that's listening to the end of this episode. But I am thoroughly ashamed to reveal what else is in the box.
Wait for it. Wait.
It's not a Barney or anything, so nobody get too excited. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I
can't
don't
believe
think
I'm
I'll
gonna
ever be ready.
I can't believe I'm going to show this.
Oh yes.
It's a legendary barbarian, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, the best figure.
I couldn't resist. It was like, I only get
So
one.
good.
But it's such a good figure, and everyone's done such a good job with it that I just had to get one. So Brett picked up an extra, so he very kindly sent that over to me. So thank you, Brett.
You'll have to get some soft goods clothes for him.
I will. Oh, and one more
Terrasses
thing,
has some good soft goods for him.
as we're talking about my birthday, which obviously we do all the time,
Yeah.
then it's a birthday present to me. It's an Axie Toys. That's a terrible reflection. Axie Toys Dinosaur Warrior.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Which one is
Oh,
So-
that is. Which one?
This is one of the. Is it Carnosaurus? It's one of the smaller. It's not the big T-Rex. I need to get a big T-Rex, and I left that too late because it costs a bloody fortune now. But as soon as they show the Triceratops, it's like, yeah, I'm all in now. I need to get those. So that's my first meat eater. I'll get the T-Rex and pay $300 or whatever stupid figure it is, and then the Triceratops coming out as well. So yeah, so that's my birthday present from my lovely wife.
Oh,
Well, Rich, a very happy birthday.
yes.
Thank you very much
I hope
indeed.
you enjoy the rest of the week and obviously your birthday tomorrow. I'm sure you'll get a lot of love on
Will have
Facebook
been.
and wherever.
I will, and
Yeah.
we're going out to a barbecue restaurant for the evening as well. So I'm my evening will after that will be me sitting there going, oh God, I can't move. Oh, I'm so full of barbecue. So I'm very much
So
looking
you
forward
won't
to it.
even be able to get drunk because you'd just be so much soakage that you
Oh,
just...
there'd be so kid. You just take
Yeah.
away any alcohol. Yeah, there's no chance of that at all. I'm going to be stuffed to the gills. But it's a leaving doing work on the Friday, so that gives me the chance to do.
yeah. So you can make sure yourself then.
Yeah.
Very good. And are we going to have some Patreon episodes coming soon?
We are. So we have the first 2 guests for Rich's Randoms lined up.
Awesome.
I've asked the third person as well, who's checking with his good lady wife to see what his availability is over the weekend.
Under the thumb.
Not under the thumb. He's just doing the sensible thing.
Don't name and shame. Don't name and
I
shame.
won't name and shame. But we have 2 guests guaranteed and lined up. So me and John will be doing the recordings for that. I was being laughed at by my wife the other day for I was trying to find a way that span and revealed what the questions were, because you pick questions at random is the plan. I couldn't figure that out, so I've now done it in Excel, which I think works all right. It's a bit clunky, but it works okay. But she was just like, "You're so old-fashioned." It's like, hey, this works.
You could have asked me.
Well, I didn't want to. You to have the extra effort, John. I thought, I'll take responsibility for this.
You'd rather
you're
to be
doing
shit than to
You're
ask
doing
me.
yeah, exactly. You're doing the recording. I'll do the rubbish graphics. It's like that works fine.
To be fair, yeah. I shouldn't be control freaking your thing. So that makes sense.
Yes. So the first, hopefully 3 interviews will be recorded this weekend, and then we'll start dropping them next week, John, if that's not too much pressure on you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
And then I'll be contacting everybody else over the next couple of weeks and booking in dates for the rest of them as well.
Cool. So,
And hopefully it'll go really well. So our first guest, I messaged him, chatting to him earlier, and I was like, you're the victim. You're the sacrificial victim. If it goes horribly wrong, you're the one it's going to go horribly wrong for, and then we'll refine the technique after that. So,
well, if you ever wanted to see Rich do what I do and me not be on screen, it sounds like the thing for you, no?
exactly. Do you want to know the weird thing was? He was like, "Can I go first?" He's like, "Because I'm meeting Baz and Gemma, a British couple who were at Legions Con last year. I don't know if you guys,
yes.
I chatted to them at length,
Remember
and
them,
I kept in contact with Baz, awesome guy. Gemma's lovely too, and they're over in this part of America at the moment. No hints. And they're meeting up with the person we're interviewing later on that evening,
awesome,
sort of thing. So,
Oh, cool.
so the Legion spirit is spreading everywhere. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you meet at Legions Con, you meet up when the person's on holiday. It's,
we
it's
should
very
get these other British people on the show then.
Yeah, we do. Yes.
cool. We've got a list of British people we should get on the show. There's quite a
Guys,
few.
You're the Brits here, so you need to sort it out.
Mhm.
I mean, we're not a guest-driven show, so that's, but we do like to have guests from time to time. So
Yeah.
all right, I'm pressing this now before this episode goes on even longer.
Before I start unboxing 23 other figures, going, I got this one and this one.
Well, you did, yeah. You have enough stuff to get through 4 birthdays.
Remember, everybody, stay safe out there. And if you're unboxing a very large box of figures, cardboard cuts are a thing. Be careful. Send gloves, gardening gloves, something like that. A sharp enough but not too sharp knife. Take care.